And we're going to go to Skye and then Ruth. Let's see here. Da-da. Skye, hello.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Hello. I can.
Oh, good. Oh, good, good. Because I at first I saw my photo on the bottom, and now it's not on the bottom, but it is beside you, so it's working out. As long as
Yeah, all's good.
everything's
Yeah.
good.
And you have
So
headphones on, so it's not, we don't have the echo again?
I have
Or
an
headset
earbud.
or something? Perfect. Earbud's fine.
Yeah,
All right, let's do it.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
I'm at
Yeah.
work, so there may be interruptions. I don't know, but I'll do what I can to just ignore them. Now, how do I? Um, Yesterday, one of my tenants announced that she's moving out on Saturday. Not a 2 month warning, but a 5 day or whatever 6 day warning. And on top of that, she's been threatening to sue for a while. She's been very, very challenging and uncooperative. So the fact that she's moving out might be a good thing rather than a bad thing on short notice. But it means that she wants her month of December back, so I have to give her that back. And um, she even said something about having one more month. She wants another month redeemed. So my boyfriend and I have been dealing with her threats for exactly 1 year. So maybe it's a good thing that she's heading
Well,
out
it
with
sounds like
such
it's a good,
short notice.
no, it sounds like a good thing, but as far as the way that you want to do something like this as a business transaction is you want to make sure you're open before you come into any agreement. Okay? Because
Okay.
being generous doesn't always work. It can actually be the worst thing.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they'll keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Or it could be that it's opening and it's the right thing. And so, did you have a 60-day termination on the lease? You said 2 months?
That was on the lease, and because she kept threatening, she and her husband kept threatening to sue, although it was coming from her,
Over
not him.
over what?
Oh, she would complain about smells and uh, supposed mold and um, roaches, and then saying that we're not treating these things. And we have had 3 visits by the roach company, including last week. And I even paid for the bill yesterday. So, she's accusing us of not doing things, and we're doing things about it.
Okay.
And we never had roaches before a previous tenant brought them with them. So I'm very
Okay.
sad about the roaches.
Right. So let's just do some IGS work around it. Okay. Now, this is an
Okay.
emotional issue. Okay. So you could be
Yeah.
really triggered about it. You seem okay. So we want to, what when you're working with something where you're using your IGS and you've got an emotional issue behind it, there's some trigger behind it. There may be some fear, some anger, some upset, resentment, that kind of thing. Right. I can guarantee that
Hmm.
her moving out is the best thing that could have happened because that's the way the world works, regardless of whether it's her or not. When something happens and it's not how we'd want it to be, it's going to end up being the best thing that could have happened. And I want you to just hold that thought for a moment. This is going to end up being the best thing that could have happened. You don't have to close your eyes. I want you to get away from closing your eyes. You got to be able to use your
Okay.
IGS with the eyes open. You can't sit in the middle of a meeting with a tenant like checking your IGS. You got to be able to do it with your eyes open. All right. And so,
That's true.
yeah. So just hold the thought. This is going to end up being the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're open.
It's
Open.
more here than below. Yeah.
Right. Are you still,
Yeah.
you're tight down here in the solar plex? Because
Uh, um.
your throat, your chest, and your solar plex operate independently. You can have a lump in your throat and a tightness in the solar plexus. You can have a tightness in the chest and a lump in the solar plexus. You can be open in your chest and tight in the solar plexus because there are 3 different things. Your throat is when
Oh.
you're undermining your own self-worth. Your chest is real time, past, present, and future information as you're just having thoughts about thinking about the past, what's going on now. But the solar plexus is a belief system that's not true for you, that's affecting the way you think about something. So when you feel activated in the solar plex, and I can feel your activation in the solar plex, right? so there is a belief, a fear that's not true. So what is your fear? We're going to start there. What is your fear about this situation?
I think part of it is not exactly the situation. It's that my boyfriend is slow at working on the continuing renovations. And for
But this,
example,
is
I
this with
know,
this woman though? We're talking about the woman.
no, it's not. It's two separate things, but I think I keep falling back on my fear of him not spending enough time doing the work.
Okay, so then
So,
let's look at that. Let's look at what we got. We're just going to deal with what we
okay.
got. All right, that's what's important. Okay, so um, as you hold the thought, it is time, just hold the thinking of you've already got you already know it's not true that your boyfriend is not going to work on it fast enough, right? I mean, because it's closed, you have a tightness. So hold the thought
Oh,
for just a
yes,
minute.
that's true.
You're closed. So, but this is the thing. I want you to look at, is it his to do? Because I know you have concerns around money and finances, and it's cheaper to have him do it for free labor. But if you paid someone to get it done and they had it done in 2 weeks and it was rented, it would be a big difference. So there's your IGS, when it opens, it's going to work out for you and the money's going to be there. So you have to be able to just like be open, and it takes time. That's why I'm super happy you got the Fear-Free Mind Experience program, because you're going to be able to go through that. I'd go through it twice, do 14 days. And at the end of 14 days, you're going to have a whole new awareness of your IGS, and you're going to be able to have trust, because that's part of what the 14 days does, is it builds your trust, because you're going to see it work. Okay. So hold the thought. It's best. It would be best if I just had somebody come in and get this work done. I know you've hired people in the past. Try to leave that behind. But right now it'd be best to get somebody in to get it done fast. Open, closed, or neutral.
Oh, open, close, or neutral.
Right now it'd be best if we just had somebody come in and get that work done quickly. Closed.
The issue is he doesn't listen to me. He wants to do it himself, and he resists what I say, and so I've had to let him do what he wants to do,
You're
and
closed.
he won't
Oh,
listen.
notice. You're closed. As you're talking, you're closed. Now, I know there's evidence of what you just said, but notice that you're closed. Just stay with the closing, that you're noticing that you're closed. You're not open. If what you just said
Okay,
about
yeah.
him was true, you would be open. Okay. Now, I know, listen, our mind has a ton of evidence. It will take it once we have an idea about something. All right. What will happen is it will take a whole, it starts gathering evidence to prove that we're right, but we're closed.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're closed, we're gathering evidence that's not true. Even the evidence, the way we look at the evidence, is not true. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. So I'll give you an example, and it can just be the way that two people are seeing something, and then we'll find out what's opening for you. I once had a person who was installing sconces on the sides of my bed in the master suite. And I handed him the sconces, and I came home and they were upside down. And I walked in, he's like, I got them done, and they're on the dimmer. And I came in, I was like, they're upside down. He goes, they're not upside down. I said, yeah, they are. And I said, they're supposed to be turned up. And he looked at me, he goes, how are you supposed to read if they're turned up? I said, it's not reading lights, it's mood lighting. And he goes, oh, because I want the wall shining up versus looking up and you've got this bright light in your face, right? We do this all the time. And so him not listening to you could be because there's been all these problems in the past, and he's afraid of picking the wrong contractor is going to be picked, and he's listening more to the way that you are worried more about money, and the money is not as important, is more important to him, and saving money versus time and getting the timing done. And there's a miscommunication happening between the two of you that you've taken as he doesn't listen, and he's ignoring me, and he rejects the solutions that I have. But the truth is he's protecting you, and he's trying to do his best to save you money, and he doesn't want you to bring in somebody else because he doesn't like the people you brought in. We got that in a couple coaching calls ago. He doesn't want you to pick another bad person, so he thinks he's protecting you. Okay, and there's just a communication. But the key here
Sunday,
is now.
Mm-hmm.
So the key here is just because for the sake of time, all right, can you let that go for a minute and just sit with the pure thought of, it's time for me to bring somebody in to get this done quickly. Open, close, or neutral?
Not really. It's either neutral or closed, I think it seems.
Okay. So then just do the opposite for me. It's not time to bring somebody else in. He can get it done quickly. Same sensation.
Yeah, that's
There's no
closed.
change. Closed?
Yeah.
Okay. So he can get it done. So hold the thought of him being able to get it done, and that putting a plan together with a timeline with him to get this done.
He won't
See if that
discuss
opens.
it.
So you didn't check your IGS.
Oh.
Instead, you answer from your mind, and because your mind doesn't know. Your mind does not know what's possible.
True.
It really doesn't. And that's one of the cool things, is you'll get to a place soon where, in doing the work, where you'll be able to be much more flexible in your thinking about possible solutions. Okay. Because I'm going to tell you, Skye, I can imagine you're closed about the tension. There's tension around how long this is taking, right? And there's tension about the communication between the two of you. And there's tension about him not talking to you about it, which is all closing. And if you two try to communicate, closing begets closing. And that means you will not find an opening because the two of you are closed. One of you has to create the opening so that the other one can work themselves open. And you're the one who's doing the work, so you're the one who gets to create the closing. Yay!
Or the opening.
All right. The opening, I mean. You're the one who has to
said
create,
that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And to help him out of his closing. Yay! So, it's your job. But here's the key. Once you find the opening thought about what the discussion is and what the plan is, and you come and talk to him, he will talk to you about it because you're open. Okay. But if you come in with the closing, he's going to not do it. That's how it works. Truly. Truly. And that's one of the biggest things, especially between men and women, is when we're closed and we go to our men to talk to them, we're upset and we're closed. They see it as complaining.
Yep.
And they don't believe that they can even fix our complaint. So they just will not engage. If a man cannot win, he will not play the game. But if you come in
no, go ahead.
No, he said what?
He said when I ask him, if there's any progress, he's so tired of answering that question that he refuses to answer it. And he says that I just do it to get on his nerves. And I said, no, you have no idea. Like, I have so much anxiety, but he just does not get it. And I don't know.
But your anxiety is closing,
it.
and so it's not that. Listen, he can't win. You're upset, and there's no solution. And if it's exactly what I just said. If a man cannot win, he will refuse to play the game. So what that looks like in the relationship that you're in right now, and so we got to get it to a place where you two are winning together, and that means getting you to an opening place. He has only the same answer, and you're not going to be happy with it, so he won't talk about it. And that's it. But if you can deal with your own anxiety, and anxiety is closing, and always, every time, anxiety is always closing, which means that what you're thinking is not true. And I know you have tons of evidence, and this is part of where over time, and it doesn't take very long, the IGS will prove itself to be true. Okay, it really will. So write out everything in the situation. Here's some homework. You can talk to me about it tomorrow or on Sunday. Tomorrow we have a coaching call at 9, and then Sunday I think it's at 3. But you'll have to look at the email. Write out everything that's making you anxious about this project getting done. Be like everything. And then go through and look and see what's opening and what's closing, because not all of it will be closing and some of it will be opening, because then we can start creating an action plan. But everything that's closing isn't true. And that's what you say is, this isn't true. That means what I'm thinking is not true or not going to happen. It's really important for you to get clear on that. And saying this is not true, that means, well, I'm closed. That means this is not true or not going to happen, will start to open you, which means something else is true. And you can start playing with your thinking. But first we have to find out what isn't true that you're buying into and living into. You're living into those thoughts being true, and that's affecting your relationship. And it's not true. And he can't fix your anxiety. Okay. Nobody can but you. And even if the project got done and was rented, that anxiety would show up about something else, because they're old habits. We keep trying to fix the things outside of us and it doesn't work. We have to deal with our anxiety, which is closing from the IGS, which is guidance about changing our thinking. When we change our thinking about it and we get the opening, it will stay forever and you will have permanently changed and you will not be an anxious person. This is just a particular situation where you've got high anxiety and we're going to fix it. We're going to use it as a tool to get you through to a place where you don't have the anxiety anymore. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I'm excited to hear that, and I'm on board with it. What are your thoughts on Saturn returns, where the planet of Saturn returns to where you were born? It happens every 28 to 30 years. And I'm in my second Saturn return because I turned 60 in August. So I'm more than halfway through it, though.
Yeah, I'm not I was going to say astronomer. I'm not an astrologist. Is that right? Astrologer?
Yeah, I think astrologer, yeah.
I've dabbled in that in my past and left it behind long ago because it just didn't seem to work for me. So, and I think it's a fascinating thing. It's fun to know more about ourselves and personality types and all of that. But what I can tell you is, if there is a hard time coming because of the stars, you getting rid of your anxiety is only going to make it better.
Well, that's
you being able to manage.
That's why I was asking, because it says that it will challenge you, in each of the Saturn returns, and that you need to learn to master whatever is challenging you. And it's been a year and a half of this challenge now, and so I've come a long way, but
I think let's look at what's
your
true.
Technique is a missing link.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, let's look at what's true. Get it written out, what is really happening with your anxiety, so we can actually work on your actual anxious thoughts, because we can't dance around the thinking and solve it. We have to go straight to the actual, like, one-liner. I need to know what the thoughts are, and then we can work with the thoughts to find your openings. And then at that point, the new neural pathway starts, and it'll be easier for you to hang on to the openings. Okay? And it's the same thing with the fears around this person leaving. And so what you would do around the person leaving is look at what it should, whatever the game plan is, should open you. It should open you to give her December back. It should open you to give her a free month. If it doesn't open you, do not do it. It will not work. No matter how much it is, how much easier it is to not be in conflict and just give, there will be more. Because closing doesn't work. Closing will create more challenges in your life. You have to be open. So if it doesn't open, and what opens you is to not give her December back and to tell her that she has to move out on Saturday, and you're not, because, it's this weird thing of like, I'm going to move out on Saturday and I want December back, but I also want you to give me January for free. I thought you were moving out.
Or November for free, whatever.
Yeah, no.
Give her back her November.
So check your IGS. It should feel opening and good to you. And if it doesn't, that's not the plan. If it does, do it. It'll work out. You'll have the money. The money will come in. They'll leave peacefully. But if you are doing it out of anxiety or out of conflict aversion or any of that, don't do it. Okay?
I'm just worried because I'm down to so little money, and now I've got to fork out more. And it's just been one thing after another. And
I
it's
understand.
driving me bananas.
And you said worry, which is closing. This is what I just want to let you know,
Yeah.
Skye. You're one of these
No,
people
yeah.
that if you keep going with this over the next few weeks coaching, okay, what you're going to find is a success story at the end that everybody falls in love with, because I've been through this with people before. We'll get you through it. You said, I'm worried. I'm so worried because I'm running out of money. That's closing. Okay. I know. I totally know. I know it's true. I know you have lots of evidence, but that doesn't matter because the IGS knows stuff that you don't know. It knows about windfalls coming in. It knows about new tenants coming in. It knows about solutions. And that's, I can hold your feet to the fire and talk to you about this specifically because I've worked with so many people in the past and it's always worked out.
Wonderful.
All right.
Okay. So, yes. So
Write out your
I will
anxieties.
listen back, write out my anxieties in great
Yes.
detail, and then bring them to my next opportunity to chat with you.
And work through
Probably
some of them
tomorrow,
yourself. Work through, well,
yeah.
you may not have enough time by tomorrow. I want you to, Sunday would be better. Do the program that you just purchased, because that'll give you more work with your IGS. There's some things in there in the next 4 days that will help you work through some of this yourself, and then bring the conversation on Sunday. Okay.
Very nice. Yeah.
Good.
All right. I will do all that you've mentioned, and then I'll present to you whatever I've struggled with.
Okay, good. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Skye. We've got one more person.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.